are gonna be the Chinese slayers.
It can be really funny, like if we fit Weibo and you see. Come here.
They're trolling, I think. Oriana shot with.
Kill them.
Ansel going here. He's on red Ansel, okay, guys?
That's fine.
The Skarner's taken out Razork with an amazing flash, but Light is now in the fight, and Noah will be taken out. It's a double. It is gigantic triple now for the Ezreal, making a quadra.
It was looking good for Fnatic until Weibo turned the lights off because Light came online. And I do want to give credit where credit is due. Both my analysts said when we saw the draft, and we'll see the draft comparison come up in a second, play out on R4 when Rumble was picked for Fnatic, both of you said Ezreal would have been the play here. And in hindsight, it would have been so valuable knowing how proficient Noah is on it.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted one of two things. I wanted Fnatic to ban both Xayah and Ezreal on, as their 4-5 bans, or to take Ezreal on 4, because those are the two ADs that have a chance of actually surviving the comp that Fnatic was drafting for. And I don't think they really needed MF over the top. I think Ezreal would have worked with their comp if they didn't want to ban it.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And the fact that you have that ability to get out of the Rumble ult, everything else that was coming your way, it made things so much easier. And Light has been so incredible on this pick as well, both domestically and now getting to show up on the international stage. I think they needed to find some way to just lock the AD carry down, and they just couldn't do it.
Yeah, I think if in hindsight they would probably identify the same issues, specifically with how the game went. And I want to break down where it all turned sour, Azael.
Yeah, we have this fight, obviously, where Light does end up getting a quadra. You know, at this point in the game, I think Fnatic were in a pretty reasonable spot. But so much of this fight really comes down to how Fnatic spent their resources, and Weibo recognizing that even though we are down on members, we are up in resources, we're up in health, we can actually win this fight from here. So the fight starts out, they do find Crisp here, and Fnatic are going to look for an initial pick onto Crisp. They commit quite a lot to him. It's a nice initial interrupt there, utilizing the ultimate from Razork. He actually knocks him out of the blast cone, but you're using Vi-ult, you're using the Rumble Equalizer, and then you're going to use the MF ult as well. So yes, you got a kill, but that's 3 ultimates just for the support. So Fnatic have to recognize that yes, we won that initial part of the fight, but we may not be able to continue forward for this. Tarzan then goes in, it's a little bit of an overextension. He uses his flash to actually get out here, that you can see just kind of highlighted right there at the bottom of the screen. And then they decide, you know what, we're actually going to try to collapse on this. But part of what they actually miss here is the fact that the Jax is coming, you know, from this bottom part of the screen. He's down here looking for that angle. So, you know, he is running back towards his teammates. We roll the clip forward. Tarzan here does get jumped onto, but again, does get the ult down, gets his aftershock out, so he's soaking a lot of damage, and now Jax has arrived. He's in the middle of everyone. You look over at the carries on the other side as well for Weibo. They are completely untouched. You then note missing flash here as well for Noah, so Noah is now in a spot where he can't actually look to retreat back really. He can only kind of move forward into the rest of his team, and he kind of is already cut off as well by Light and Xiohu from this side. So it gets into the spot where yes, you got the initial 2 kills, but now what's going to happen? Breathe flashes in, recognizing Noah has no flash, gets the stun on him, and with that threat being identified, Light finds the angle here, moves away from Humanoid and Oscar, who Humanoid was really the only remaining threat. Really well played, gets in, gets the kill on the backline, takes over the game, and really knocks Fnatic's chances out here. It was very impressive stuff.
And I think the fact that you get to utilize Light in this really does showcase just what this guy's capable of. He's been absolutely incredible domestically, and now we're getting to see it on the international stage. I think a lot of people kind of look back to him when he was on LNG saying, oh, well, he kind of got overshadowed by Allah, he was the big Jax guy, but Light kind of got pushed to the wayside. And even when he got qualified for the World Championship, people were like, oh, but Ruler's not here. Light just always kind of gets pushed to the side, and this is a guy that has been an incredible carry performer for this team, and now we're finally get to seeing it when his team
the shining light of the team.
I would say, you know what, he lights up my life, not anybody else.
You laugh, but you know, Weibo is a roller coaster sometimes with how Xiohu and Tarzan like to play, but it's always usually Light and Crisp. I will say Crisp has not been as good throughout this World Championship.
Sometimes Crisp for the other team.
Sometimes, but Light is always so reliable, and he can play anything, and I think you could kind of, it was on the cards, right? Because you said it, Fnatic was not in a bad position in that game, but you need to be in an exceptional one, and you need to win these skirmishes, and it takes a lot of precision. And the LPL, I think, thrives in these when they have, you know, a position where they know that they can beat you on mechanics in a choke point, in a very important fight in the series.
And that's what we saw them fall back to in that adaptation from the draft. But now you've got to try and do that again. This is the last game of this series. This is do or die. Do you get to go back towards this late game scaling and say, hey, look, we will beat you in the team fights? Or does Fnatic bring out something spicy?
Yeah, so Fnatic going to be going red side here, and this is potentially the last game here at Worlds for either of these teams. Your entire year coming down to this moment. Fnatic, I think, has shown a lot of growth throughout this series. They've shown a lot more patience, a lot more restraint. I want to see them go for a comp that can scale alongside Weibo. That's what Weibo has shown us they want to do here in this series. And just look to trust in their mechanics, trust in their 5v5 that they showcase they can really succeed with in game number 1.
Yeah, I think also in game number 2, you saw it. They felt, as you say, different to the Fnatic that we have known to be a bit antsy, to run ahead of the facts really in a lot of situations. But again, now the pressure is the highest it has been all year.
But that's why I'm a little bit nervous, because for Fnatic, what has been working for them all year is this strong early game. So going towards late, yes, maybe you can match them in mechanics, but Smoder has not worked out for them. This late game hasn't worked out for them. I nearly want to see them almost double down on this early game and say, hey, look, we live and die by what we've done all year. This is where we're going to go for it.
Press that go button. You know what? Yeah, I like it. No, stop doing something else than what you've been doing all year, even though you've been losing with it. Stick to your damn guns.
Well, you put it like that.
Wait, is that how I'm supposed to do it? Is that how I'm supposed to like get into the monologue thing? Is that how that's
no
supposed
monologues,
to work?
Atlas.
That's what it sort of
no monologues.
Yeah,
They're playing right now.
And Success is playing early game.
No, I was figuring it out. I'm just trying. I'm here to learn, you know, and maybe that's just not.
What
how
does it all start with, Atlas?
Atlas, I know you know that's not true.
I was about to go into a Linkin Park track there, and I felt like maybe I could have. You know, it feels a little bit.
Well, no, that's topical. That's okay. I think no one will mind that.
All right, here we are into the draft for game number 3. Weibo tying this series back up again, and it's looking pretty similar, eerily similar, one could say, to what we saw in the first game as far as bans are concerned. The Aurora going to be banned on the red side this time, though. That is going to be the first change-up. It's just Fnatic sticking to that one.
Want to echo some of what the desk was saying. To me, the draft for Fnatic became very hard to play out the moment that misfortune was locked in, right? Because Light obviously had an insane pop-off game, but to me, unless you're playing Kai'Sa, which I'm pretty sure was just banned again, trying to play as an AD carry when Vi and Ahri are going to be like 3 screens away, if you're a mobile, unless you're like Lethality Varus, and I think even in that case, it is just so hard. You have very little leeway, especially if you're playing against Brief, who's made his sole job that entire game to just make sure Noah doesn't get to play it.
Yep. And speaking of not playing things, the Orianna going to be taken away from
Skarner.
Xiohu, as the Skarner first pick should be coming in. But now what about Ashe then? Yeah, Ashe. So Ashe is now left up, but so is the Jax. Is it Jax Ashe? Is that what we're going to see here? And it's not.
I like
going to be Rell.
I'm okay with the Rell.
At least the Rell. A lot of AoE CC. I mean, we've seen the biggest parts of these Jaxes have been these counter strikes in team fights and flashing to the backline and getting multi-person stuns with them. So we're seeing another couple of AoE pieces picked up for the comp.
It's really funny to me because similar to the spot that Camille was in, right? Split pushers, like solely dedicated split pushers, like for example the Fiora, we just don't really see. And Camille always used to be kind of the gold standard, but I feel like it's just been Jax, you know? Yeah. How many good counter-strikes hitting 2 or 3 or 4 people have we seen this tournament already? Oscarinin feeling confident lining it. Again, we do know that there are some counter picks that can actually punish it well, but the burden of execution on that one going to be quite high. The Ahri doesn't feel quite as insane to me when you pair it with the Skarner. Still a good amount of lockdown though, but just not quite the same snap potential and damage as I would, yeah, 100%.
This does feel like it has enough
feels
damage.
Great.
Yeah,
yep.
Lights Ezreal did look absolutely fantastic, and he's going to stick to that one. And I actually feel like in a game number 3 where the pressure is infinite, just playing what you know is good and what you know you can get behind is certainly the way to make that one happen. So all aboard the light train here for Weibo at the moment, as that is a Vi once again. And I was wondering about this because I kind of felt like Sejuani felt like a good angle here, but
especially because as soon as you saw the Ahri hover even on the side of Weibo, they're clearly thinking we're going to break up that guaranteed Vi plus Ahri combination, but they still go for it here. Still a very good, useful tool for them to find those engages, and Humanoid will just play something a little bit different.
So we're banning Kai'Sa. There we go. Yeah, that's a no-brainer. As we're already locked in, plenty of dive on the enemy team. Wonder if Ziggs is also going to follow. There's a lot of AD damage already for Fnatic. And Ziggs Vi is a combo that I think is just really, really strong. Also, Ziggs is one of the champions that allows you to play 1-3-1 or at least a 1-4 a lot better, as he has so much wave clear, but also side lane control with his ultimate.
Opens up a lot of flexibility for Humanoid as well to play sort of anything in that mid lane. So I don't mind that idea. Could just be the last ban here, though, for Weibo, as Kai'Sa Ziggs really are sort of the AP bottom lane options at this point in time. Still considering it for now, though, as the Rumble is going to be taken away from Breed, not allowing them to play that side of the matchup.
Yeah, and Fnatic themselves not wanting to run. Okay,
Ooh, okay.
Interesting. Silas protection ban already. Because of what ults are they going to pick next?
Well, the Ziggs is going to be picked up here, I assume, for Noah, and there it is.
Yeah.
Feels like a bit of a no-brainer based on what we were discussing.
Is the Silas ban because they want to pick like Alistar into the Rell for bottom lane possibly?
Pick Alistar, and
so it does open up that possibility for Chris.
also I think Silas in general has just been, a lot of players have liked it into the Ahri.
Yep, and I think if they pick like Alistar Nah here, like a Silas goes incredibly hard.
Is it R5 LeBlanc?
Ooh, that would be fun.
I'm trying to think what you'd want to go with Vi. They can of course also go for, as you already pointed out, you can go AD as you do have an AP source, and Jax also is mixed. Can also go for the Syndra again that we saw in that game #1, but
okay, pretty standard here then.
Yeah, not feeling as exciting as far as the last few picks.
That said, for Weibo, this is a very different comp. This is low damage.
Yeah.
Right. It's going to be Ahri, who is very burst focused, and I know that Light did a lot of damage, but I do think that the Jax really gave, and I like this a lot more.
Me too.
Add an additional threat and ensure that even if they do somehow get Light, there's an opportunity. Okay.
He actually slams it. I was like, oh, you know, maybe Humanoid will play something a little bit different. No, he'll play something a lot different. And this is something that people have been talking about.
He's never gonna die.
When there are so many short range champions being played right now, you know, things that really excel in that sort of like big clump team fight are going to really take over. Swain here, locked and loaded.
The last time I saw this was in a Challengers game. Like this is
Jun and Noah might have been in that Challengers game.
Very well could be the case.
I was thinking back to it as well, and having a drain tank, you're exactly right, up against like so much little damage that doesn't have a lot of range either. Beautiful combination here, and Fnatic have range for days because they do have that Vi Ziggs combination, and the fact that Swain doesn't do all of that burst damage, right, doesn't actually matter as much when you do have that backup with the Mega Inferno Bomb, these bouncy bombs going absolutely everywhere. This is a beautiful counterpunch here for Fnatic.
We've got a treat for you here in Fnatic's possible elimination game. They've got Humanoid, first career Swain.
Oh my god.
I love it. Everything on the line. All or nothing. Final game in this series to decide who moves on for another chance.
And this is what you have to do, right? This was do or die, and it is time to bring out all of the tech that you've kept, all of the things that are up your sleeve. And maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. But if it does, I think that we might see the old man with a cane another time in this tournament, because it just feels like such a masterstroke into what Weibo have put together and what a lot of other teams have been putting together so far this tournament.
Also, I don't think Swain is quite as obscure, but we saw what happened with Doran and Nunu. Right? Atlas and I in particular, you know, Doran, very skilled player, but that was definitely a Doran moment.
He keeps a lot of RAM free, right? This is the way we have to explain it, right? Sometimes you don't need to know everything.
Well, I think it definitely should know. That doesn't seem like that weird of an interaction, but that's it, neither here nor there. The Swain really is, to me, one of those champions where if he ever gets ahead because you make a bad play, think you can burst him down and he can drain through it, like he can snowball insanely fast. Because again, who is going to kill him if he gets big in this game? There isn't the type of AD carry or enemy that can reliably burn down a Swain.
I will say, Swain is pretty straightforward. I'm trying to think of
I know.
What would be like the brain dead things where you're just like, wow, they don't know what the champ does. Because like if there's a giant red eyeball circle on the ground. You're like,
I don't think
you're
they're
just
walk
going
into
to not
it.
walk into it. You know, you're like, oh, he throws at the root.
When a claw thing comes at you,
you're like,
probably try not to
don't
get
want
hit
to
by
stand
it.
in that. The one thing I will say though, that some people don't always react to is you want to get out of the ultimate, so then it will actually turn off.
Yeah, if you stop getting drain tanked.
There's been a lot of different iterations, and that's, I think, the biggest one to know, as you say. If that is popped, and that's actually what I love about the Fnatic comp, because not only is Weibo short range and are they forced to play into you outside of the Ezreal, but also they have so much CC to set up for the Swain.
Exactly. If you don't get out of the ultimate, then he can just keep on
keeps on going.
Keep on channeling it there, and as you say, you know, the Rell and the Vi very well positioned, and the Jax as well, to kind of keep you in it.
Yep. Some more teleports here as we are in another lane swap. Haven't really talked about it that much because I think everyone's pretty well acquainted with how it's been going, but we've had those double teleports from both top laners switching some lanes here, and we'll see whether Breathe is going to be okay towards that top side. As you can see now, Oscar is just trying to do what he can, uses the Counter-Strike when he can to get as much experience as possible here, and it's working out just fine. Things doing as they say on the tin, as it were, as Humanoid losing out on a trade here, does hit that never move onto Xiohu.
He's getting stacks.
Yeah.
Kobe, fortunately, also is going to be our... Are you going to be stack
counter?
Well, we have it.
Soul,
we have
fragments.
We have it as well on the broadcast. That's not something that I'm used to. Some kind of...
Yeah, that's
normally we need to do this manually.
The
I can't believe we have this
last time
technology.
there was a Swain, it was a little bit before we had stack counters underneath the names.
Yeah, the soul fragments though, that permanent health stacking so far, just the one that we saw on screen, it's been collected, so the 12 health there. But meanwhile, the bigger play on the map, kind of crashing the large wave as Tarzan is just transitioning over to this side of the jungle.
Xiohu setting up vision.
Yeah, immediately Razork does spot that one out. He's just trying to grab some more shellfish. We'll be able to grab that one away as Jun and Oscarinin just going to deal with the minion wave. Light probably going to crash that one through. And so far, no real scuffles, and I think this is the closest things have been at this point in the game.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing to catch people up on with the lane swap that we saw here, while we were all focused on Swain, is that you get like that extra little camp there for Razork. So Razork with a really nice start on the Vi, a little bit of extra tempo for him, going to get an earlier recall, which he might be able to spend towards the other side of the map.
Also teleport for both bot laners here, so both Light and Noah can play fairly aggressive as Noah.
Tarzan getting himself in there. Chris finding a knockup, but only onto Jun. That was beautifully done by Noah. Gives him a thumbs up for it as well, or maybe that was for himself, because he deserves it.
That looked a little dicey, so Noah used his satchel to interrupt Tarzan, but it also knocked himself forward. So really good sidestep there on the entrance from Chris, otherwise he would have definitely taken a lot more.
Wow, full
Humanoid,
combo.
If things are going well pre-6, you're feeling good as Razork might have snuck in here.
Yeah, gets behind them. No Shattering Strike to come down, but now the Vault Breaker is good. Light in a bit of trouble. Only level 4 for Razork as Chris tries to come round. He's still burning. Razork flashes underneath and picks up the kill. He's still in so much trouble. The minions gets the shield from the passive. Not even close as he makes his way out.
And that's exactly the play we're looking for with Razork, having that little tempo lead in jungle, spends it onto the bottom side of the map, and another one. You want to play off Jun. Jun on this Rell, really a facilitator for Fnatic, and Razork has been the key to their early game in all their domestic games. Really, really nice him getting the first blood, going under tower to get it, and not even close there with the damage calculation from the tower at the end. Even is able to proc his shield off of the minions to get out. So Fnatic, again, they strike first here with the first blood.
And even with Jun this time whiffing on the Q flash, there's still more than enough damage. Really didn't feel like they were ready for Razork showing up. Humanoid about to hit level 6, really when the Swain is going to start feeling like a much bigger threat.
Yep, picking up that Demon Flare going to be very, very important. This one goes along as Noah able to really protect these turrets. And that's the beauty of Ziggs, parking him anywhere you want to just take down minion waves over and over again. Obviously, mid lane is going to be where he's going to be spending a lot of his time. But this is actually what I wanted out of this series. Just go back to a holistic view, right? Is to see a change up from what has been happening in both of these games. Last time, game number 2, it was Fnatic with a little bit of an earlier game focus, a lot of CC on Weibo's side. They come out with the victory in the end with a lot of team fights working out. Same on the opposite sides in game number 1. This just feels different, gentlemen.
I just feel like this, incorporating this Swain, you know, we've seen already the success of these like unsuspecting picks, you know, these non-meta picks from, you know, FlyQuest really leading the charge with a lot of that. But Swain transforms your team fight. Now he's under attack though.
Yeah, does pop that ultimate. Let's see whether he can keep trying to take these health bars. That Demon Flare not going to be working out just yet. And that is Tarzan locking down the kill, answering back from Fnatic's first blood earlier.
So a lot of people are always going to keep on looking at Humanoid's flash. In this scenario, he also did not use it.
Are we still trying to work out how we feel about this, Kobe? Is that what?
Yeah, because like, so if Skarner is level 6, then usually you're like, oh, he'll probably like just turn an ult right after I flash, and then it's kind of hard to dodge. But like, Tarzan was only level 5 there, so successful kill off on the Swain on the new pick here for Weibo.
Pretty big deal because the gold lead that was there for Razork, still there for a little bit, but has now shrunk. And when looking at the CS, we do see Weibo actually across the board doing well as Jun. Will be able to get the cancel.
Yeah, it does just crash down his way out. The flash impale from Tarzan, though, and even though the satchel does go off, it does nothing at all. Crisp is going to be the one, unfortunately, to grab the kill, but that is going to put Weibo in the lead.
Yep, there's his level 6 right there, and invested in bottom lane just like that. Weibo emphatically striking back. This is also on top of their 3 grubs and on top of their dragon that they got. So very quickly, Weibo turning the story.
Big thing here is Tarzan, right? Walks mid, gets the kill. Takes down Humanoid and immediately just paths towards bot. Able to pick off Jun, who has been having, I think, a really solid series on the Rell, but finding these early kills, definitely really big deal here for Weibo, because when the only gold graph looks good is just on Razork, means that Fnatic is going to have to find some of these peak team fights. They do, again, have, when it comes to the CC, I think, an impeccable setup as Oscar.
Yeah, that's just a Gnar right into the turret there. Didn't have a boulder, because there were minions in the way, and so Oscarinin is going to survive for the moment. Crisp lurking. They are able to stop this back as Breathe jumping forward to make sure that Oscar does have to go the long way out. And this could be a lot of plates to go down for Weibo. This snowball's really starting to roll.
Yeah, I mean, the Gnar is absolutely destroying up there.
Low.
Yeah, this could be a little bit of a problem here. Cease and assist, they just look to go in onto Tarzan. Mega Inferno Bomb does a lot of work. Crash down. So much CC in the bouncing bomb to finish him off. And now with the teleport, Breeze goes through. There's the Never Moving Lights in so much trouble. Oh, man. Very close as the minefield. Not quite enough. And now Xiohu looking to make his way in. He's on vision. They have to just all in for this one, I think, as the Comet almost taking down Light. But he should be able to get himself out. Xiohu, that is a long wraparound. As Noah should be able to get a plate here as the satchel comes out, and Noah, Xiohu just clears out a wave, and it's like ships in the night. I thought we were going to get a little bit more than that.
But do note, Oscarinin TP to top, whereas Brief TP to bot, so he will be getting a wave and some plates.
Exactly, Fnatic keeping track. They know that there's going to be more resources heading towards bottom side, so they send Oscarinin up to the top side, able to continue to extract value out of this play.
Not going to go play. Very sad.
No. Just going to be walking away, but still it's going to eliminate a wave.
Yeah, still a win. Especially because they traded 1 for 0.
Especially, too, because the Gnar had been just destroying up there. Breathe had gotten a lot of money, extra turret plate, plus had a very large CS lead. But because then Breathe mini Gnar teleports down to the bottom side, loses a lot of the lead that he had just built up. Some is still there because it was so sizable, but that did help out a little bit in that effort as well.
Yeah, it really does feel like Fnatic did find a little foothold back, because it was moving towards like 1.5k or something like that, and this lead was continuing to build for Weibo, gathering these tempo advantages, and Fnatic really has put a stop to that, at least for now.
The objectives, though, Weibo, as you pointed out, already on 3 grubs as well as a dragon, and with the timers the way they are, if Weibo doesn't get contested, they can get these grubs and then still have all their cooldowns available to play for a Drake. Fnatic also has their bot lane towards this top side of the map, is being matched by at least Light. Looks like Crisp is looking to base. Yep. See if Fnatic can deny a single one, but it doesn't look likely.
Now that is going to be 6. That is every single grub this series that Weibo's been able to pick up for themselves. Vision of Empire, just to see exactly what was happening.
Look at the vision from Weibo here. No one is going to walk up. Fnatic now not getting anything towards the top side. Going to have to rotate over, catch that mid wave, and then set up for the dragon fight, because I can't imagine you want to give that one up as well.
Yep, and we have a friend, Orcs, who is a big Ziggs fan.
Oh, I know him.
Yeah, you know him as well. But Chronicler, what do you think that he's going to feel about the Ziggs play so far from Noah?
Well, he hasn't satcheled offensively yet to his own detriment.
Yeah, I was thinking that was going to be a positive.
What goes into an Ox rating?
Well, it's often
It's
item build,
Okay.
almost like 85%, and then it's how many times you offensively satchel.
So
So that's it. You got 2 points you're judged on.
Yeah, that's it.
Which is a lot. You know, it's
There's a lot of nuances there, though,
No,
Cody.
there is. It's a lot more esoteric than Hooney's Rumble rating, which is did you build sword pan boots?
And
did
how
you
does
go
he feel
Leon?
on the day? A little bit goes into that.
Well, let's see what Noah can do now that he's gotten the Ludens completed. Lots of burst potential here with that. You've got the gun on top of the bombs, so big explosions possible.
A lot of weaponry.
And we saw previously with Fnatic's play that they pull up on bottom side, they have a lot of setup for him. You know, Vi ultimate holding the target there so you can get the ultimate, sweet spot damage down. And Fnatic want to fight this. They're teleporting, a possible teleport from Humanoid. He's recalling to base now. There we go.
They want to fight this.
It's so dangerous. Like, Fnatic's, their circles are online, gentlemen.
Okay,
And
so
could be very scary. And so Weibo just going to give it up with the setup there.
it's a flip though, because this time Brief is just being left alone towards.
Ziggs ult those minions.
Oh, there we go. Mega Inferno Bomb not
silent
quite going to be able to
control.
do it, but with the Ludens able to clear out the back line, I give them some space. It's all right. Fnatic still just trying to hustle, trying to get themselves in there to defend this bottom outer turret. May not be able to do too much. Not going to be able to get to the wave, but should now be able to find a little bit of positioning as Oscarinin gets his back stopped by a cheeky True Shot barrage. Weibo holding onto the tempo of the map at this point in time. But Noah, like, I feel like you cheat a lot with Ziggs because you get to clear out 2 waves at once, basically, if you have your ultimate available, and you can otherwise just eliminate minions. And you can see that working out just fine.
The only thing is they didn't cheat enough because they got the first wave, but then didn't get anyone in for the second wave. Like, no one else rotated ahead of time up there. So in the end, Bree's still going to get solo gold on this outer tower.
That's just
like,
before the plates
that's
fall
like
down
a
as well.
600-700 gold swing. I think it was up 300 gold, and now it will be.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So Nar's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
And it's already a huge CS lead.
It was already, let's be honest, it was already an issue early on, but we didn't have the camera on the issue. I feel like now
so we just could ignore it.
Now the camera is going to be on the issue a lot because
If you
Trinity
just-
Force fully completed.
If you just ignore it, is it really there?
Yeah, well, yes, because we
case,
saw it, and unfortunately,
yes.
and maybe we should blame the observers, but I think that maybe that's wrong. As you can see, Weibo, they're starting this one up, looking to try and take down the Rift Herald, and they've had a bit of a monopoly. It's only one dragon that Fnatic have been able to pick up, but this Baron Pit slash Grub Pit slash Shelly Pit has been theirs this entire game. That is going to be secured here as well. So Tarzan will be able to put that one down. That is another turret destroyed.
That's another.
Yeah, satchel props, exactly.
But
As
with
Tarzan doesn't quite get through, does have to
The Rift
go
Herald
back and get the eye.
Rift Herald is basically like a cheat sheet for killing mid lane turrets. So
Do they even need it?
yeah, actually with 6 grubs.
They don't need. Oh my.
And there was no one really here.
So, Fnatic, it really now is a what, like 3-4 plays in a row are just getting mega out-rotated.
That right there, you show up to the test ready to cheat on it, but you just know all the answers anyway.
Yeah.
It's like,
while making your cheat sheet, you did such a good job.
You didn't have to look at your cheat sheet.
look
and that's
at it.
actually how it's supposed to
you
go.
actually learn.
So now they still have Herald. They got mid lane turret effectively for free. They got topside turret effectively for free. And the gold lead that was very manageable early now for Weibo is about 2.5k. From seemingly just them being solid on up. And I think Fnatic, they posture to me like they're looking for a fight, but Weibo is not giving them any opportunity. So like multiple members of Fnatic are just in the jungle. They're looking, they're trying to find a, and then Weibo is just not handshaking.
They're not going to walk into the Swain and stay there.
It's a problem, and we'll see whether Fnatic can solve it. As now just throwing these water balloons all over the mid lane. Shout out to Noah. This is just probably one of the best skins ever made, but easily the best Ziggs skin, so we passed that test as well. Humanoid pushes this wave in towards the bottom side.
One of the issues with Swain 2 is possibly going to show up in this game. It is more difficult to split push, of course, because you don't have mobility. You can stall for a decent amount of time, but it definitely is a viable target to pick off, especially since Weibo, have a very fed Gnar plus an Ahri for the other solo lane option. It's something Fnatic are going to have to work around, which is definitely something that they, have fumbled at points in the past, is being able to control the entire map towards the later stages of the game without dropping those kills. So we'll see if this does become an issue. So far, just look at the vision, though. His bottom side jungle is completely lit up, so they have plenty of vision to be able to push out on bottom side and be ready for this dragon.
And I do think that Brief being as fed as he is really making one of Weibo's, I think, possible weaknesses, which is that there could be somewhat lacking in damage. That's not an issue now, right? With how far ahead is Naris of the curve. And if Fnatic can start stacking these Drakes, that can be a big deal, but it goes both ways. I think either of these compositions are really going to feel pretty lackluster once too many resistances are being brought out. And for me, the Swain also, this is where he shines, like mid-game. Once you get to late game, I think his lack of mobility, his trouble with actually getting on top of a target, and enough magic or armor and magic resist penetration coming through, you are going to get shredded even if you can drain. So Fnatic, I think they need a good fight. One bad fight and they go in.
Ooh, Season Assist comes down. There's the combo with the Mega Inferno Bomb, and Noah locks down that kill and Impale to try and pull Razork back, but he's pretty tanky and he's able to get himself out. Meanwhile, a bit of a battle towards the top side, but that is going to be the interruption.
That's big.
Should be free dragon.
That should be it.
TP towards top side here.
Yep, Trishop Barrage gets a fair bit of information at the same time. Xiohu looking to try and get that dive to work out. It should be the dragon going on over, but can Oscar be okay as he dives in? The charm is gorgeous. The flash pretty good, but back underneath the turret they go. They're surviving for so long. Breathe will be able to tank that last shot, and Xiohu finishes him off.
Some praying there in the audience going on. Fnatic do still get the dragon, but that is a good counterpunch. Whenever, again, Weibo see Fnatic taking one of these objectives, kind of like the last game where we saw them say, okay, you have full control of the dragon area, it's fine, we'll try and make a topside play. This one was actually more successful than in the previous game, and now they're not even done. Tarzan here contesting blue.
Bit of a drive-by. He's going to be able to get on top of this blue. Crisp seems to be everywhere this game, and now they're just looking to try and defend this bottom side, but that turret is just gone. Grand Entrance doesn't really do too much. The flash out from Razork, the Mega Inferno Bomb, just to try and get them out of here. And that is going to work for now.
That's still going to be a flash invested with them still getting the objective. So Weibo continue to build upon this lead, now sitting at 4K, and I think all that Fnatic are really holding on to is now that the 2-item spike is hit for Humanoid and a possible Drake, if they can somehow win the next fight, things are looking pretty dire.
Yeah, I honestly, this game just looks so much better from Weibo just because of the quickness in their decision making. They're like, fine, you picked Crisp, okay, and you just invested multiple ults to do that via ultimate, then you're going to go spend resources on Dragon, so we instantly dive top, and then instantly on the other side, invade jungle, rotate from mid over to push you out, and they still get an objective. So pretty good responses, even though this chain of events kind of started with Fnatic finding the pick onto Crisp. Weibo don't sit down and just wallow in the fact. They immediately respond.
Well, now we've got Shelly going for a very long walk here through the bottom lane, but Weibo in great position to try and push this one out. I don't think she's going to be charging into this turret because I think it's an inhibitor that's going to be in front of her. As now Tarzan going to be able to get Noah out of there. Good satchel defensively, but the inner turret is also going to fall. And it's as if they've got Baron, but they don't even have Baron. They're taking everything down here as the Swain going to have to try and go back, but that is a charge onto an already dead turret. And Shelly will eventually fall, and Fnatic, they lost so much in that exchange.
This is why every team has talked about the importance of 6 grubs and how powerful that is for pushing. Plus you add on the Rift Herald for good measure there. It is just so much extra pushing power for Weibo that they can quickly take multiple objectives. Of course, you're not going to be able to do all of that without this early, very big gold lead. Gnar is literally a full item, over 3,000 gold individually up in the matchup, and so your side lanes are just forfeit. Then Gnar is just insane.
Yeah, Breathe is basically 2 champions at this point in time. And so now Noah going to have to try and get out of there. The rock is going to be avoided, but Tarzan still looking aggressive. And I don't think there's very much the Ziggs can do about how incredibly tanky Tarzan is. Razork moving towards that top side of Xiohu, chasing after Humanoid. Charm going to be avoided, still taking a fair bit of damage. Vision of Empire, fair bit of damage there as well, as True Shot Barrage will clip him. Humanoid down to 50%, Razork trying to get in. Jun, he eventually presses the button, and that is going to be a beautiful pullback, but you can see Crisp, he's still able to get out of there. Breathe can tank up for so long because he's so extraordinarily fed, and they're limping away, but they're getting away. Noah has to flash, and he eventually gets it.
Pretty big here for Fnatic in the defense, but it only results in 1 kill, even though it's the jungler too, not going to be able to rush anything. Oh. And you also saw, Weibo actually doing a good job disengaging the Swain during the ultimate, so that nobody else dropped on top of it. Could have been worse for Weibo.
They do know what he does.
They certainly do.
Which is great. Really, again, want to highlight the fact that Breathe lift there is so big. I think in theory, that's the one opportunity you'll get, which is to try and take him down while he's Mininar, but it just isn't enough immediate burst available. With the Sterix and the Magic Resist, ends up staying alive, and then, yeah, you get the pick on Tarzan, but so much is invested. And if they got a Baron off of that, that would have actually brought them back in the game. Now this is an okay moment, but Noah flashing offensively, still something that they're going to have to play around in the upcoming fight.
And if it was kills under the carries, there are bounties to be picked up here on both Light and Breathe, and that is so much of a swing back, but it's just getting that, another kill under Tarzan, another kill under Crisp. You haven't really stacked up shutdowns at this point in time.
Also because, they are running both the Swain and the Ziggs, like it's so much AP that there's gonna be a lot of magic resist, built on the side of Weibo. So we'll see here.
Ooh. Mid lane turret again still standing. That to me has been, even in the game that we saw Weibo lose, like one of the big differences between these two teams is how valiantly they hold on. Like, look at that top lane turret is still standing as well, right? Fnatic only has gotten a single one as TP. They are full committing towards this dragon, knowing that Fnatic wants to look. They know, but will they be in time?
Yeah, can they do anything about it? As you can see, Weibo, I think they're looking for a turn. Fnatic fully grouped, trying to get themselves in there.
Oh, that Mega Gnar.
Yeah, that Gnar is looking absolutely gorgeous here from Breathe. Does he have an angle, though? Can he get himself in there? There is the wallop. It does go wide, as now the cease and desist on top of Breathe finds an Gnar under 3. As now Weibo looking to try and get in. In goes Humanoid. Oh, this demonic ascension is massive. Still, it's Tarzan that's taking down the Baron. But can they kill this Swain? He flashes on top of them. And the answer is yes. They can indeed kill the Swain. Now, Jun, nowhere to go. Tarzan pushing them around. And Fnatic, we're just a bit too far behind.
Weibo slammed the door shut on Fnatic's hope. That is a clean ace plus the Baron.
If Razork gets that smite, if Humanoid has a stopwatch, that could have been the difference maker. None of that, though, as Weibo, the confidence. Again, brief. It looked like there was for a second there a chance of him dying, but that man knows his limits.
If there wasn't such a big wallet difference, then maybe. Then Fnatic probably could have done a little bit there.
It was really big.
But the wallet difference ensures that Breathe survives, ensures that Weibo now full control of this game.
Over a 10,000 gold lead as they even up the dragon count as well. And here we go, having a look at the replay. See how Breathe just lived.
He's on the front, early mega transformation that you guys were looking at. There's the Sterix pop, and he gnars everyone into the wall at Baron. They get the flash out immediately. Oscar then has the flash out as well. But here's where it got dicey. Razork queued back in. Yeah, queued back in, was there for the smite. Just a tiny bit early on it. The damage had been stopped expertly there.
If Humanoid either has the activation of the R, right, the extra damage burst, if he has a stopwatch, I think that flash forward, if he takes down either Light or Breathe, that could have been the difference maker. But I think you can see it on Fnatic's face as well. 10k gold deficit now. Baron here for Weibo. They already opened the base like, what, 5-6 minutes ago with a bot side push.
Well, now these inhibitors are still standing for the minute. There might be another fight, but look at this raid boss making his way forward. This Gnar is more than mega. We need another word.
Giga Gnar.
Giga Gnar, there we go. It's beautiful. As Humanoid should be able to get rid of this minion wave using the Sith Lightning. Breathe now finds himself a little bit alone. I'm trying to do the math. I'm trying to figure out whether 5 members of Fnatic are enough to deal with it. And I think we've got enough tape to say that maybe that is debatable. As Chris now helping on a bit of an angle here. Cease and desist going to be used here. Razork gets himself in. They look for Breathe. They get him down low once again, and finally he falls. But at the same time, it's a triple for the Ezreal, making another quadra kill. And you stop thinking about trying to kill Light at your peril. has 4 lying on the floor in an instant, and Xiohu just trying to keep Noah out of there. These Nexus turrets are next on the menu, and Weibo Gaming will keep themselves alive here in the Swiss stage, and unfortunately we have to say goodbye to Fnatic.
After that game number 1, Weibo looked somewhat out of sorts, but game 2 and 3, calm, collected, and I think particularly the game number 3, the decisions they made, how they played the map, Fnatic just had no answer to.
I think incrementally each game getting better there for Weibo.
Yeah.
Definitely the third their best.
Yeah, I would say so as well, and unfortunately the Swain that we were so excited about, right? It's something different, you could see where it could work, just never really managed to get off the ground, unfortunately. And so, Shox, back over to you.
And so Fnatic's year ends not in a bang, but in a whimper, because they let Weibo run all over them. They were dizzy. Weibo took complete control, and we can talk about perhaps the disappointing exit later today, because the attention should go to the winners. Weibo lived to fight another day, and regardless of them not being able to show their best play in the Swiss stage so far, giving them a chance now to, in the 2-on-2 matchup, get another LPL team into those quarterfinals is what is on their mind.
Yeah, and I think for Weibo, definitely a sigh of relief. The big discussion point we had coming into today was what do they look like when they're on this off-meta style that they've been trying to force, but honestly, the 2 games that they had on the more meta picks worked out really well for them.
Yeah, and it's really kind of the expectation they had after that first game. They went full early game, didn't work. They're like, all right, well, if this isn't going to work, we're just going to go back towards standard. And I do think it makes Weibo a lot more frightening of a team because they have some really strong carries. I think Light was showing up incredibly well. You know, especially him was really dominating. So it's going to be a scary team to potentially draw for a lot of these people in 2-2 pool.
Well, luckily some of them already played them. You included. So there we go. But yeah, for Weibo, it's true, and now they perhaps get another chance to do better, right? And I think it will be a tricky matchup no matter what. Might we also say, we saw this in 2023, and it went exactly the same way. Fnatic won game 1. They lost the 2 thereafter to Weibo. So Xiohu kind of channeling that same energy.
Yeah, but I think Bray channeling some of that energy.
Yeah.
This guy was absolutely incredible. I think this is a guy who gets a lot of flack on Weibo as well, as he has had some missteps, but definitely I think he had a great game on the Gnar, being able to take over in side lanes, and I do think a lot of that was Fnatic kind of fumbling the ball when it came to lane assignments and that, but Bray gobbled up everything and just showed him what he's worth.
Yeah.
I mean, the reality is in League of Legends, when someone gets way ahead, it can be part of one and part of the other, right? It's like if someone makes a mistake, you have to be able to capitalize on it, and I think that, yeah, Fnatic did kind of fail on how they were moving on the map, and I think they were too willing to just give over objectives instead of trading, especially when they were playing triple TP, but I think Weibo did play the map really well. We're able to utilize Gnar to get really big advantages, and then we saw how it paid off in that final fight where he was 4,000 gold ahead. You just couldn't burst him down.
It's that other side of the coin, right? You say maybe you should try something different, but then you see when you're out of sorts, when the game states aren't the ones that you know usually, how it can completely go out of line as well. I think there's 2 sides to the coin.
There totally is. And I mean, I think Swain is actually going to be a really good pick if people bring it out in this tournament. I just didn't like it in this draft because I think, you know, when we see these comps that are like 4 melees and then a Kai'Sa, it could have worked there.
It could have, but it didn't. And it is exit for Fnatic and another day to fight for Xiohu in the Verizon post-game interview.
It is the end of the road for Fnatic, but Weibo Gaming just saved the world's run with this victory, and I have Xiohu and Wendy with me to talk about this one. Ni hao, and thank you so much for joining me. First question about the last game, R5 Swain from Humanoid. What did you think about this champion in this specific draft?
那首先恭喜你们获得本场比赛的胜利，但是首先还是要问到的是最后一局的一些英雄选择。对面也是在5手给中路的 Humanoid 选手选下了斯维因这个英雄，想问一下当时的一些反应会是怎样的呢？
其实，在训练赛的时候碰到过狐狸跟斯维因这个对决吧，然后也是知道该怎么打了。
So to be honest, we have faced against like Swain and Ahri this kind of matchup for the main lane, so we kind of know like how to handle with this champion on stage.
And a lot of people were surprised that Fnatic chose to stay red side for this game 3. Did you think the same way? Was it surprising for you to play the last game on blue side?
那其实也有一些人可能会觉得 Fnatic 他们在第3局主动选择了红色方的这一举动会有一点点出人意料，所以说在你们的看来是怎么样的呢？会不会有一点点小小的惊讶？
对，因为其实我们第3盘下台确实一直在讨论红色方的 BP， 然后对面突然选蓝，也导致我们没有讨论蓝色方 BP 的时间了啊。
Yeah, definitely. We are also super surprised about this. It's kind of all of our expectation because, to be honest, before the game number 3, we have already decided what ban pick we're going to choose in the right side already. So suddenly we noticed the opponents seem to have chosen the right side. We don't have much time to consider what we like to pick in the blue side.
Amazing adaptation from your side, and also the best way to save your Worlds run. I know that there's been a lot of criticism towards Weibo, towards you, Xiohu. How do you reflect on your Worlds run so far and the improvements that we could see from you guys?
那其实，在今天的比赛结束之后，你们也是把队伍从淘汰的边缘救了回来嘛。但其实也知道你们这一路走过来是比较的艰难的，可能外界也会对你们，包括说对整个队伍有一些质疑的声音。所以说，你怎么看待你们在世界赛这一次的一个旅程呢？包括说，可能在未来有哪些部分还可以继续的成长和提高？
我觉得这次世界赛我们之前可惜的局比较多吧，包括打竞技还有G2的时候，我们拿到大龙，但是没有顺利的结束掉比赛，然后就是针对后期的团战会多去改善一下吧。
Yeah, definitely. I feel like in this World's journey, we left so many regrets on stage still. So, for example, for the game against G&G and G2, after we got the Baron, we didn't manage to just close up the game very cleanly. So, really need to make some improvements, maybe on the late game macro to help us to make a very good snowball. So, there are definitely some parts, some room we really need to have some growth.
All right, hopefully you guys can showcase this tomorrow. Xie, thank you so much for the interview. Wendy, thank you so much for the translation. And that's all for us here. On this side of the thread, we'll be right back for Team Liquid versus GAM.
Red Bull gives you wings.
"在抵达那一刻之前，你能做的只有等待。如果故事再重来一次，我想 Jackie Line 还会做出相同的选择。等待比分失衡，企图从中看清胜负的端倪。等待一切安静，好听清自己脑海里的声音，直到抓住那一刻。他们可能会因为激进而失误，但是不会因为胆怯而畏惧。